How are you getting on with the Purosangue?
Well, there's things I like, there's things I don't like, as always. But there's more I do like, and Ferraris for me have been more about what I don't like for quite a few years. So I think it's nice it's refreshing to have something different and something.
That colour's beautiful though, isn't it? That colour is just unbelievable.
Yeah, red is one of those colours, isn't it? It's Ferrari, it suits. Other colours, it look garish. Or other cars, it look garish. So
the same colour as your Ferrari FF, wasn't it? That you ordered brand new.
Yep. That's I don't know what the name is for it.
Was it Rosso Maranello?
Maranello.
It's like a 3-layer pearlescent colour, isn't it? Really, really vibrant and bright in the sun. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it worth 20 grand though?
No. Is it worth 400 grand the car? No chance.
Yeah, I mean,
but it is. It's like I always say, it's a bit like having a house on Park Lane or a house in the Old Kent Road. They're still a house, aren't they? They're still same size, same bedroom, whatever else. But one is very expensive and one isn't. So
definitely. I mean, it's not it's supposed to be an SUV that's not an SUV.
That's bullshit, isn't
it? Yeah. I mean, it is an SUV. I just think it's such a pretty looking car. I mean, there's nothing else like it. It's not as big as a Urus, but the lines are just gorgeous.
It feels as big as a Urus. It probably isn't, because the Urus is actually bigger than you think. I think because the Urus has got that kind of muscly angles about it. It doesn't seem as big, but it's actually quite a big car in a good way.
Things like obviously with the newborn and stuff like that, pram and stuff like that in the back, is that as big as the Urus?
No, the Urus is squarer for a start, which makes it more practical.
Yeah.
But the Urus, I think the Urus is a disappointment. It's a fantastic car. It's a beautiful looking. It's everything about it is very nice. But it's a Lamborghini, and I think a Lamborghini should have something weird about it. Like should have weird doors, weird boot, weird something. Ferrari, funny enough, and this Purosangue, they've done a couple of things that are a bit out there. A bit like when they've put indicators on the
and the steering wheel. Yeah,
steering wheel. So the door handles to get in, it's a bit of an odd thing because you've got to push your fingers through a hole almost to get to it. It stays flush on the outside when you're not doing anything. But I think for women they'll struggle with that because they'll have rings on their fingers.
So yeah, and long nails and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it's not. It looks cool, but it's not the best, not the most practical. Inside, there's just like a little button that you press to open the door. Just like a little nice logo. Press it and the door opens. I think that's just something a bit new, which we haven't had for a long time.
They're having those suicide doors, which are pretty cool.
They're very cool.
Not very practical in the car park though.
I don't know. They haven't caused me a problem so far. I think they're again. It's you need to do something different, don't you? If you're going to charge 400 grand for a car, you've got to have something a bit.
But then the other side is the practicality of it. So obviously, with the newborn putting into the car seat and stuff like that into the back, but the suicide doors, it makes it a lot easier.
Does.
Have you tried?
No. But I put the car seat in, but I didn't put the baby in with the car seat. I just put the car seat in to see if it'll fit.
I suppose, yeah, small minor details, but obviously it's just such a great looking car. It sounds good.
Sounds good. The V12 is same as the FF or the Lusso. They have that old style Formula One whine when it goes up, and because it's V12, it just goes on forever before it changes gear. That's special.
Do you think it's worth 100 grand over list?
No, but it's not worth 400 grand to start with. Having said that, my original analogy of a house in an expensive area versus a house in a cheap area, it's at the moment probably, yeah. If you want one, that's what you have to pay.
Would you sell yours to us?
I don't think Ferrari would be very happy. So no, I
no, exactly.
And at the moment, it's a very special thing. It's like a new toy. You don't want to sell it, do you?
I mean, we're really keen because I've got quite a few clients that really want them, and they'll pay some strong premiums for them. So I mean, there's nothing out there for sale. But trying to grab someone or try to convince someone to actually take 100 grand over list for something to sell it on.
100 grand is a really big number, isn't it? I mean, maybe when it drops to 50 grand, people will be more. But as an owner of one, it's kind of a one-shot deal. You take the money, and then you've got no car, so you feel like you want your car back.
But, yeah, I suppose.
And also Ferrari won't be very happy, and they probably won't let you have another car.
But you've ordered another one, haven't you?
I have. Luckily, I managed to get two on order. Bit of a risk though, because I ordered both these cars before I'd even seen one or knew the price or anything. So Ferrari are in a unique position. They'll sell you something that you've never seen before and that you don't know what the price is, and take a big deposit off you. And we all hand the money over because we know. Well, I thought it's the only SUV. We're not allowed to call it that. it's an unusual new Ferrari, bigger than most. So yeah, worth a bit of a gamble, and it has paid off because it is beautiful. And luckily for me, because this sometimes kills, even if I like a car, all the journalists seem to like it as well. So all the stuff I've read about it,
people
they're all saying yes, it does justify its price or its uniqueness or its Ferrari-ness. So thank God for that.
So you've not gone for conservative colour, you've actually gone for red again.
No, because I think, like I said, red, I would never order any other brand in red, but Ferraris in red look like Ferrari, don't they? And they carry it with a class, whereas I think a lot of cars, you put them in red and they look like you're trying to say too much. You're trying to be a bit too look at me, whereas Ferraris don't do that. So I think it's the only car where I pretty much always like to specify red. I have had a black one before, I've had a white one before, and they look fantastic in their own right. But as a Ferrari, I think they look best in red.
Yeah, and I think, not the Rosso Corsa, but the metallic, I think it just makes it look really classy. So obviously the one you got at the moment is the 3-layer pearlescent one, which is bonkers money, but it looks awesome. I mean,
it's fantastic. But the other thing is, on the Purosangue, which they charge you a fortune for, they have the carbon like mud guards around the wheels and the sills and things. So you have to have that. But put those two things together, so you get that contrasting color. You get the carbon, which actually I think is a bit overblown, carbon itself, but the color itself mixes with the red, and it just looks like a special car.
25 grand's worth of carbon.
I know. Everything that they do that you actually want, they know they charge you a fortune. 25 grand for what? Something that it'll probably cost them another £1,000 maybe to make.
Exactly, to do that. I mean, there's so many different options that you can go with those cars, and you can get crazy. I mean, so what's the basic price? About $350, is it? Or that $325?
I don't know. You lose track of that. Yeah, it's around about $350, which doesn't sound too bad. But then you literally get a car that you wouldn't like to look at. So yeah, you then start adding. I mean, keeping it very, very conservative, you'd be struggling to keep it below 50 grand. So you got 400 grand. Most cars are probably 420-ish.
What color interior did you go for?
On this particular one, black and red. But on the next one, it's a tan, which is very much like the FF I had 10 years ago. And again, that's tan for me just feels, again, it's another level, isn't it? It's just something a bit more special. So, but this time, tan and white. I think tan and white together, again, maybe not everyone's choice, but they look classy.
Like your Pagani.
Like the Pagani. That's probably what gave me the idea. It's a different, unusual thing to have tan. Tan can be a bit old man, but not if you mix it with white and you have it inside of Pagani or Ferrari.
What about a copper and grey Purosangue? Or is that two-tone?
Nice. I mean, like
don't like get an option. I don't think you can have an option as a two-tone on Ferrari. I don't know if that will actually work.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't actually know why two-tone isn't used more often, because two-tones just look special, don't they? But I think a copper and grey Ferrari would look like a very nice car, but it wouldn't look like a Ferrari. Yeah, so that's kind of with a Pagani or something, you need to have those kind of out there colours, because they lend themselves to that kind of specialness.
What's the lead time now for? I mean, someone was saying to me the other day, the lead time for a Purosangue is probably 2 to 3 years now. So probably that's what's really driving the premium market.
Well, it is, and that's why people will pay over the odds for them. And I suppose the longer that is, the higher the premium. And but I don't know. They say 2 years. 2 years seems to be about an average, and that's always been the case. I suppose that's nothing new. That normally what you wait for a Ferrari.
Now we're talking about doing a hybrid at some stage, because obviously the V12 was supposed to be limited, and then obviously introducing a hybrid Purosangue, which, what sort of price will that come out? Do you think that will be 50 grand cheaper? That will bring it into, dare I say, it's the Urus Performante prices?
But then, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan of hybrid. I think it's great for the first, because they tend to have like 40, 50 miles worth of electric power, which boosts things. It has all sorts of things, but then it runs out. And then so you're constantly, I had a Range Rover that was a hybrid. Very sport. It was a very nice car, but once the electricity ran out and I had to charge it, so basically I had to charge it every day, because every time you use it for any kind of distance, it's quite fun and it's quite novel and it's quite interesting, and it does actually make the car a better car. But I like not to have to do all the charging business. The charging is a pain.
You get like 10 miles for a full charge.
It's not so much about having a car that can drive on electric on its own, because I think they work best when they're helping each other.
Yeah.
Maybe like Formula 1 cars. So I'm not a fan of them for themselves, but I think the technology is great. But as with everything electric, you've got to charge them, and that is a pain.
Yeah, I think, Genesima, I really do think it will do as well as the Urus has done for the last 2-3 years. I mean, you look at a Urus now, they're still fetching list price 3 years down the line.
Yeah, and I was the first one to say that's never going to happen. I actually had a Urus on order right at the beginning when they first came out, and I cancelled it because it came out and I thought it's not special enough. It doesn't justify a £200,000 as it was then price tag. They're now near 300,000. So I was wrong there. I thought that I'm going to lose a lot of money there.
People are the same. Everyone thought it was going to be the highest appreciating Lamborghini ever.
Yeah, I was one of them,
and
it went up.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, obviously they went for premiums for years, and even to this day now, I know there's a few more cars on the market, but you still for a 2-year-old car, you probably still asking a premium for them.
Yeah,
so that means
it's a good sign.
Market. Yeah, especially with the Purosangue. I mean, if it's fetching $100,000 now, it's probably going to be fetching $50,000 in a year, 2 years time. So
yeah, I think at the end of the day, as long as the balance is there and the manufacturers don't push it too far and premiums don't get too excessive, cars that maintain their value, certainly at this kind of value, is a good thing for the industry, because what you don't want to do, a bit like Bentleys, I think Bentleys get a bit of a bad rap. Bentleys do seem to depreciate very quickly and a lot, and they don't deserve to. They're a better car than that. But for some reason, something's not right in the balance there. And when you buy a brand new Bentley, very soon after that, it's worth a lot less. And that's a shame, because they aren't bad cars. They're good cars, very good cars.
Probably the VW mentality, literally.
Yeah, bang it out there.
Bang them out.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you can sell them, just get rid of them.
So as a buyer of a new car, it kind of puts you off. You think, well, do I really want to spend $200,000 and then 6 months later the car's worth $150,000? Whereas if it's going to either go for a premium or even stay the same, or even just go down a little bit, then you're a bit more comfortable buying new cars, and they'd actually, they'd keep the demand up.
Because that's the point. Is that if the residual values are really good with a Purosangue, literally you can have a big balloon value at the back end, so you put your normal 10%, 20% deposit down. So the monthlies are going to be the same as what the Uruses were, because the residuals are quite high.
Yep.
So it kind of gives you that option.
It gives you more confidence buying the car. I mean, you're spending £500,000 on a car. What you don't want to think is in a couple of years' time it's worth £250,000. So if you know that it's going to hold its value, then it's not really the amount you're passing over, which obviously is a relevant factor. But if it's still worth that when you want to sell it, then
I mean, it's crazy when you think about 5 years ago. You were actually looking at a Range Rover that cost 110, 120,000, and people thought you were mad buying an SUV for over $100,000. And now you're looking at cars or a Range Rover SV autobiography, you're talking $200,000 straight away.
Well, at the risk of sounding like old men, the $100,000 limit, the $100,000 threshold used to be a big thing, didn't it? I don't know how long ago that was, maybe even 15 years ago, not that long. But anything above $100,000 was a supercar. It was a special car. Whereas now, I think that seems to have risen to maybe $200,000. So it's probably doubled.
The rest. I mean, a Ferrari 296 now, list price at $300,000 for a V6 hybrid entry-level Ferrari.
Yeah,
$300,000.
Why is that? Is that because the finance was cheap, or?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I think the manufacturers are just pushing the boat out. Just pushing it a little bit further, trying to draw more money out of them because of residual values, collectability, which is making the list price go up. Because even Porsches, for $100,000, you used to get the absolute top of the range sport, limited edition. But now you're talking
that's true of all cars. If you think about it, you used to, $30,000 car. Like I say, we all sound like old men. A $30,000 car was a sort of threshold for going from normal to executive, and now that is probably 60. So it probably has doubled in the last 10, 15 years, which is just a lot of interest, a lot of inflation.
So geez, like if Ferrari bring out a Purosangue that's a limited edition, like they always do, like a Stradale version, what sort of price is that going to be? They're going to be $600,000.
Well, if any brand can handle it, Ferrari can, because there's so many cars that you used to pay $200,000-300,000 for that are now worth $600,000-700,000. So they've doubled in value, and that's true of quite a few of their models. So yeah, I think they sit in that rare, I don't know, £300,000 to £1 million, maybe £300,000 to £800,000 bracket, and they can sell pretty much whatever they make.
Good. But then the other thing is, have you seen obviously the news with Lewis Hamilton signing for Ferrari?
I don't have the same faith in the racing team as he does. I think they must be a difficult company to drive for and to work for.
Oh, definitely.
Because they have a strange mentality. But yeah, maybe he's just thinking, well, I mean, everyone wants Ferrari, likes Ferrari. Everyone has that dream about them, no matter what they say. And I think for him, it's a good move, because whether he wins again, it's not the end of the world. For Ferrari, is this such a good move? He'll be 40, 39, 40. Not that that's an old man, but he's not the kind of person that's going to push the company, the whole Ferrari organization, is he? He's not a Schumacher who gets everybody around him and goes into the team briefings and so on and drags the whole team forward.
But as far as the business venture is concerned, I mean, look what happened to the share price.
Well, yes, yeah.
So the share price went up 7 billion just for apparently just for signing it.
Yeah, but when do people that do stocks and shares know anything about anything?
Well,
they're gamblers.
Well, yeah,
they don't know anything about Formula One. So they're just thinking Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari, good combination, up they go. It'll come down again, I imagine, but that's not really the point.
Okay, if you're going to pay him, I don't know what he's going to pay, 40 million a year or 100 million a year or what
salary's paid for.
It's literally paid for.
You're right. From a business point of view, Ferrari have made a shrewd move there. They've got somebody who's going to boost their share price, but really on track. I mean, he's a fantastic driver, isn't he? But he's not exactly a likable character. He's quite petulant and quite difficult and quite prickly. He doesn't, I don't know, Martin Brundle's never been able to interview him. That grid walk that he does.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Lewis Hamilton interviewed by him? Never. There's something weird there where he just won't allow himself. He's too important to be interviewed. And no matter how much you respect someone's skill, they also need to have comportment that you can...
It's weird that, you succeed as a Formula One driver, but then you end your career at someone like Ferrari. Obviously Michael Schumacher did that. Most of Alonso, same thing. Okay, I know he's doing quite well there, but he was at the end of his career, so I'm going to go to Ferrari. And then didn't succeed, and then all of a sudden goes down the pecking order.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you've got to question Ferrari because they tend to miss the boat on things. They're not a decisive, fast-moving, risk-taking company, are they? Well, certainly not the race team. That's where I think they keep falling over. They stick to their conventional things and so on, and they're not... Red Bull is the example of someone who gets it right because they are always on the edge, aren't they? Pushing things and so on. And they're happy to change, flex and so on. Ferrari feels to me a little bit staid, a little bit they stick to their plan and I mean their judgment calls on the pit wall and so on have been shocking. But anyway, good luck to Lewis, good luck to Ferrari.
The first test was today, and I think, it's like anything. I mean, last season it was 21 out of 22 races were dominated by Red Bull. And Red Bull, Verstappen, in leading race in the testing. So I think Ferrari don't have a chance. I really don't. So
I don't know. Like I said, the package at Ferrari, I don't think is the same as at Mercedes or at Red Bull. If you were a new racer coming into that sport, which team would you pick to think, well, actually, these guys have got all the ingredients to be successful? You'd definitely want to go to Mercedes or Red Bull, wouldn't you? Ferrari, you'd feel for the glamour. But as far as a shrewd business move goes, or a career move goes, you'd want to go to Mercedes or Red Bull. Maybe third best is Ferrari, so they're not exactly
unless
a bad
Purosangue. Then
you get whatever car you want.